All right, let's discuss this more as to what Pakistan is now planning. Joining me right now is a defense expert, Mr. S M Hali. He joins me live from Lahore. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to WION. My first question to you is, now the National Investigation Team has found clinching evidence after the Uri attack that incriminates Pakistan-based terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed. Given how global opinion is going against Pakistan, can Islamabad afford to risk not taking concrete action now?
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. A slight correction, I'm located at Islamabad.
All right.
That's fine. The question you've asked is a very important one. And in case the National Investigation Agency of India has found such evidence, we would welcome it to share it with us. And in light of that, we would definitely take an action, and we would like to pursue it. And if the perpetrators are actually responsible who are being named in this investigation, Pakistan is willing to take all kinds of legal action which fall into the ambit of the crime.
All right. Also, Mr. Hali, the powers that be in Pakistan, we're talking about the civilian as well as the army over there, have repeatedly said that Pakistan has itself been a victim of terror. Why does Pakistan then continue to harbor such terrorists within its borders, on its soil?
Well, two things here. You see, you rightly pointed out that Pakistan is itself a victim, and not just a victim, it's a terrible victim, because more than 70,000 precious lives have been lost in the last about 7 years or so. And this is a very large number, although every life is precious. Every life which is lost either here or on your side of the border, it is precious. But coming to your main question, that why does Pakistan continue to harbor such terrorists? To start with, if you're talking about Maulana Masood Azhar of Jaish-e-Mohammed, we were very happy when he was in your custody. But you are the ones who handed him over to us after the hijacking at Kandahar. Now, you see, as long as he is in Pakistan territory, if there is any crime which he has committed against the state of Pakistan, he'll definitely be taken to task. If we believe, or if you believe, that he has committed a crime against India, give us the evidence, and in light of that, we will take him to task. And we are not, I repeat, ready to harbor any terrorist, and we are also not pleased with the idea that anybody uses the soil of Pakistan to launch terror attacks on any of its neighbors or any other country abroad.
Right. Also now, get your point there. There's no actionable intelligence from India's side. That's one point. But now, if Islamabad refuses to take immediate action against terror camps and the machinery, especially in the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir region, despite repeated calls by India, so then one can expect that Pakistan will be okay with India taking action to protect its own interests then, isn't it?
No, I'm afraid not. You see, Pakistan is a sovereign country, and we are willing to take action. But the thing is, you have to provide us actionable intelligence. The problem of terrorism is not something which Pakistan is facing alone or India is facing alone. In fact, it is a joint problem. So that is why Pakistan wants that India and Pakistan should join forces and tackle the problem together, because we keep repeating, these people who do carry out, I'm not denying that there are not people here in India or in Pakistan who are, indulging in acts of terrorism. The important thing is that we look upon them as non-state actors, but we cannot let it go at that. We have to catch them. In fact, we have to preempt them. And to do that, we have to join forces, because apparently Pakistan has not been able to tackle it alone, and India is facing the same problem. So why not, be united in this and destroy the terror camps and get rid of the terrorism once forever, so that we can live in peace.
Okay. Also, Mr. Hali, now you must have obviously heard how American lawmakers have now introduced a bill in the Congress to designate Pakistan as a terror state. What is your reaction to that?
Well, my first reaction is that, to start with, I'm not surprised it was in the air, but as a Pakistani and as a patriotic Pakistani, I'm feeling hurt. But if the Americans think that there is such a case, they should allow Pakistan to present its own, fight its own case and try and show that we are, as a state, we are not sponsoring terrorism. What you had said earlier, we are ourselves a victim of terrorism. And if the world, or let's say the United States, considers this, then their lawmakers should be willing to talk to our people. And we would like to, present evidence as well as arguments which would prove that we are not terrorists and instead we are victims.
And my final and most important question now, even as Pakistan seems to be more and more isolated as far as the international community is concerned, but the Prime Minister, your Prime Minister, will be addressing the United Nations General Assembly, and in all likelihood, as reports are suggesting, he will bring up the issue of Kashmir. What do you have to say about that? And do you think Pakistan has now just lost all the moral grounds to talk about this issue in the first place, taking into account what's happening in Balochistan and other areas in that belt?
Well, you see, whatever is happening in Balochistan or other places which you mentioned, as a Pakistani and as somebody who's visited these places, I think, things are being blown a little out of proportion. But as far as losing moral ground is concerned, I don't believe that. You see, because Kashmir, unfortunately, is an unfinished agenda of 1947, and it is the bone of contention between two countries who have been unable to reach their true potential because of this core element of Kashmir. So why don't we talk about it? Why don't we discuss it rather than talk about whether we have a moral ground about it,
right,
or whether it has a moral ground?
But Mr. Hali, I get your point about the two countries should sit and talk together. But every time that the two countries initiate any sort of dialogue, we see some untoward instance or the other. So in such a scenario, it is absolutely impossible for the two nations to come and talk, sit down on a table and, hash things out.
No, you see, there are obviously agents and agencies who do not want to see the two countries sitting together and talking. And they are going to create problems, and they're also going to create bad blood and hostility between the two neighbors. That is why it is imperative that we sit down and talk without any preconditions. Because if you want to talk about terrorism, let's talk about terrorism, because that is what is haunting us, that is what is appalling us. So let us tackle it together, rather than saying that, no, we won't talk unless you reduce terrorism or get rid of the support which you are giving. I think the most important thing is to talk, and more talk. And I'm sure once we talk, we'll be able to break the ice.
Absolutely. And my absolute last question right now, Mr. Hali, to you would be that, this time Nawaz Sharif has gone with a planned speech, it seems, because he's met with leaders, he's met with separatist leaders, he's met with the Hurriyat leaders, and he's drafted his address, and now he's going to speak that at the UNGA. So when such a scenario is created, it itself is proves that Pakistan is not really interested in sitting down and talking with India.
I think you got your facts slightly wrong. In that, yes, Nawaz Sharif has gone prepared, but you see, the situation should not have arisen, because if Kashmir is a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan, we should sort it out ourselves. We don't need to go to the United Nations. But the fact that despite efforts from our side inviting India for talks, if we have not been able to sit down on the table and thrash out solutions for this very festering sore, that is why Nawaz Sharif is forced to go to the international arena. And that situation can easily be averted if the leaders on both sides decide to talk it out amongst themselves.
All right, Mr. S M Hali, thanks so much for joining us there from Islamabad and sharing your thoughts with our viewers here. Thanks once again.